Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Then comes re-establishment of the Mughal Empire. Already in the beginning only we have just discussed about that. There are the two time periods mentioned for the establishment of the Mughal Empire in our country. So it is written over here, re-establishment of the Mughal Empire. Akbar the Great, AD 1556 to 1605. Then again it comes about that Akbar is regarded as the real consolidator of Mughal Empire. The maximum fortification and consolidation took place during the period of Akbar, and his full name was Jalaluddin Muhammad. While he was only 13 years old, when he was proclaimed the ruler of the Mughal Empire. Akbar was so young to rule the empire, so Bairam Khan, a faithful friend of Humayun, became his regent. He looked after the matters of the government on behalf of the Akbar. Bairam Khan was a great general. He managed the empire for 4 years from 1556 to 1560. Later his son Rahim became Khan-e-Khana in the court of Akbar. So this is about that Bairam Khan and his son. This Bairam Khan was a great general and he managed the empire for 4 years. When the empire was passing through great difficult times due to internal problems, in 1560, Akbar took the reins of the government in his own hands and suggested Bairam Khan to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca. It is said that when Akbar ascended on the throne, he was only 13 years old. He was too young to control or to run the administration, so this Bairam Khan was appointed as his regent. But after doing this job for next 4 years, in the year finally in 1560, Akbar suggested him to go for a pilgrimage Mecca, but in the midway only, in the way in the Gujarat through a conspiracy made against Bairam Khan and later his son Akbar Rahim and became the Khan-e-Khana in the court of Akbar. So this way these all such things were taking place and the development were taking place in Mughal Empire. Then it is very important about that Akbar was one of the greatest ruler. In the Akbar's conquest, this is now we are coming to discuss the conquest done by Akbar or during his period. The first conquest and the victory of Akbar was over the Hemu Vikramaditya in 1556 at the second battle of Panipat. This was the historical event which took place in Akbar's life history was the Hemu Vikramaditya in the second battle of Panipat. Hemu was defeated by Bairam Khan and Akbar occupied Delhi and Agra, and in 1576 Akbar defeated the ruler of Mewar Rana Pratap in the battle of Haldi Ghati on getting the support of Rajput chief Raja Mansi. So this way all such things were done during this period. Then next it is coming about that after the defeat in the second battle of Panipat, Hemu was defeated by Bairam Khan and Akbar occupied Delhi and Agra, which Humayun lost to Sher Shah. This victory encouraged Akbar, and now he decided to extend his empire with this motive. He conquered Gwalior, Ajmer, Jaunpur and even annexed Malwa. He offered friendships towards the Rajput kings and he made a marriage relationship or the marriage alliance with them and offered higher posts to Rajputs in and outside of his court. Then he recognized the independency of Rajput kings. Two Rajput chiefs in his court were Raja Mansingh and Raja Todarmal. These were the two. After this is the picture of Raja Todarmal and another was the Raja Mansingh. Akbar is having his matrimonial alliances with the Rajput kings. He recognized the independency of Rajput kings And so for this independency only, he has appointed two of the eminent personality from the Rajput kings, and from the Rajputs were Raja Todarmal and Raja Mansi. In 1576, Akbar defeated the ruler of Mewar. His name was Rana Pratap. Whom he has defeated? Rana Pratap. Rana Pratap was from Mewar. And defeated Rana Pratap in the Battle of Haldighati. Rana Pratap was defeated by Akbar in the Battle of Haldighati on getting the support of Rajput chief Raja Man Singh. But to win this battle from this Rana Pratap, he has getting support from Raja Man Singh. Then Rajput of the Raja Mansingh, Akbar was very ambitious and he wanted control over the earlier India, and he conquered Gujarat, Bengal, large parts of Central Asia and regions of Orissa, Kashmir, Sindh, Kandahar by various subordinate officers. Who were these subordinate officers? They were further subdivided into sarkars. These subordinate officers were sarkars. Then they have each sarkar into parganas. Then after parganas, each pargana had a number of villages. This way, this conquest was there. Then what it says about that, each pargana was under the charge of a faujdar. It is about the faujdar now. So according to this faujdar, who assisted the subedar in a number of ways. Aine Akbari says that the main duties of the faujdar were to crush the revolts, to catch thieves and dacoits, and to provide military help to the provincial officials. A village was under the charge of a muqaddam. This is means the Urdu terminology used here over here is known as the muqaddam. A patwari and a chowkidar. These were the officers appointed by the King Akbar, and in an effort to consolidate the empire, Akbar introduced uniformity in all provinces. All the provinces has given that the equal rights and the equal opportunities. So to maintain the unity among the states, so no one is given the privileges. Next, it comes about that agrarian system. What was it? The revenue collection. Agrarian means agriculture. This means agriculture. Then what it says about that? The land revenue was the most important one. In our country, already in the foreign country, European continent also, only that the revenue was the main source of income, and these revenues mainly coming from the lands. So what it says that the land revenue was the most important one. Akbar encouraged several reforms in land revenue administration. Raja Todarmal was his revenue minister who introduced the system of bandobast. What it is? Raja Todarmal. Now we are coming to discuss about this. The important role played by Raja Todarmal. Bandobast is the name of a system, a tax collection which was introduced by Raja Todarmal. Under this system, the land was surveyed and assessed quality wise. On the basis of the quality of the land, the system of payment of taxes were introduced. This is Todarmal introduced a fixed revenue system known as the standard system. Fixed revenue system known as the standard system. The cultivable lands were measured and classified into 4 divisions based on the produce. now on the basis of the production, the produce which comes out from the land, and according to that the categorization has been done and the tax were fixed on that and tax were collected according to the quality of the land. Then it is said that the tax was fixed taking in a view of the classification, the fertility and the produce for the last 10 years. Calculation method was very simple and easy. So the farmers and the peasants and the local people who they were involved in the cultivation of the land, so they did not feel that they were burdened. The tax was a rate between 1/3 to the 1/15th of the produce. Lands were assessed once in 10 years for the purpose of collecting revenue after 10 years. Just like as that, the human census, Janaganana, that is what, this is the counting of the population. Then the tax was at a rate of 1/3 to the 1/5th of the produce. Lands were assessed once in a 10 years and the revenue could be paid in cash or kind. Remission was granted during drought or famine. The drought and famine and the flood were also been considered. Remission was granted during the drought or famine. Farmers were given relief by way of that is the Takavi loans. What is Takavi loans now? Cultivators were freely compensated for damage caused to their crops by armies marching over them. If suppose their crop is been destroyed with the entry of the defense forces, or with this cultivators, they were getting their, because of that the march which is organized by army and the crop were crushed by the army. In that case, Takavi loans were there which were freely compensated. Besides land revenue, income was generated from trade also. In order to increase the revenue of the state, both internal and overseas trade were encouraged. Both the way, not only in this, in a very simple way, it is explained in the chapter also inside the textbook also, and very easy to understand about the policy of Raja Todarmal. Yes, the new system, new policy which was introduced, that is very nice. The name it is given like Bandobast, then Takavi loans, such type of the terminology used by Todarmal to interact the people who they are not been very literate, but they also know so many the facts and they can just express their ideas with the rulers or with this ideas of this Todarmal were introduced, and the peasants and the farmers, they have started paying the revenue according to the assessment done under the supervision of Todarmal. Then next it comes about that the judicial system. Before to proceed this judicial system, revenue administration feature. What were the features? Todarmal, Akbar's revenue minister, needed to survey the produce of the land as it was the main source of income for the Mughal Empire. He surveyed the whole land to find out the production from the field. This is the fields during this. Actually, this is the entire assessment was done by not only that the measurement, the length and width of the fields, but the fertility of the soil. Last 10 years the record has been checked and then the new one is been announced. He surveyed the whole land to find out the produce from the fields during the season or during the last 10 years, and thus a tax was fixed on each crops which had to be paid in cash. Each province was divided into revenue circles for which the the rates were fixed. This was called Jabt. Each province was divided into revenue circles for the collection of the revenue, which the rates were fixed, and this was called Jabt. This system later had developed a lot of exploitation, corruption and bribery which affected the revenue collection of empire and thus declined. So this is about that, the revenue administrative features during the period of Toderman. This is about that, the Mughal Empire, then added by 1605 with Akbar. This is the all yellow territory, and added by 1707 by Aurangzeb. This is the orange territory, this is the yellow territory. These are the two different colors used to locate the places who has captured and conquered how many area. Judicial system of Akbar. Judicial system of Akbar was based on the Islamic code. Simply it was based on Islamic code of conduct is there. Hindu law code of conduct is there, just like as a constitution. But separate rules were followed to suit the Hindus and Muslims. This is now what it says, that this law has been made which can suit both of them, and the king was the real judicial authority. King has been given the in charge of this, the real judiciary activity, this authority, and then it is said that Akbar introduced Mansabdari system. What is this? This is a new terminology, Mansabdari system. Mansab is actually, it means that rank, and was called a Mansabdar. The smallest Mansabdar was in charge of 10 horses. The highest Mansabdar was of 5,000, but the princes and higher numbers also. The Mansab was held during the lifetime of an officer. He did not pass on to his descendants. This is Mansabdari system, and the title of Mansab cannot be passed. If suppose I am getting from my father, it will get over with me only, I cannot pass on to my children. So the Mansabdars were transferred from one district to another, and they were paid the fixed revenue. This is about that. The Mansabdars were transferred from one district to another, and they were paid a fixed salary. This is the Akbar and his Mansabdari system in Mughal administration. Mansabdar, holder of a rank. What is Mansabdar? The person who can hold the rank is known as Mansabdar. Every officer given a rank or Mansab on the nature of job, salary or Jagirs. Salary either in the cash or kind, and Jagirs means that the palace-like structure to live and to control the revenue system of the given villages. This is Jagirs given according to rank after his death back to the king. This is about that. After his death, what happened to this? Then he has back to the king and the cavalry, loyal trusted soldiers, royal bodyguards, then palace guards, artillery. These are the things which happened and which were the facilities given to this Mansabdars, and these are the duties performed by Mansabdars. It's a new system introduced during the period of Akbar. This is now example of the Akbar's central administration. Abul Fazl in Aine Akbari, it's a very famous book written by Abul Fazl. Mark this statement, gives a detailed description on how Akbar administered. Akbar divided his empire into provinces called Subas and the Subadar. This is about the Subas and the Subadars. So who were the Subas and who were the Subadars? Diwan was an officer who looked after finance. The various officers looking after the administration. Diwan was an officer who looked after finance. Bakshi was an officer who was the military paymaster. Bakshi's duty was to do the payment for the military paymaster, to pay the salary to the soldiers. Sadar was an officer for religion and charity. This is about the religion and charity. And the last one, second last is Fauzdar, were military commanders, and the last one is that Kotwal was the town police commander. So this way it is organized in a very systematic manner. After this, it comes about that the third important ruler was Jahangir, the great emperor. Akbar was succeeded by his son Jahangir, and his real name was Nuruddin Salim. What was his real name? Nuruddin Salim. When he ascended the throne, he was 36 years old and took the title of Jahangir, and he continued the liberal and secular policies of Akbar. Jahangir wrote his own biography known as Tujuke Jahangiri in 1627, and Jahangir died and was buried in a tomb at Lahore. Very decorative and the magnificent building. In the beginning only of this chapter we have gone through it. So once again, before to close this chapter, you must have to visit and find out the fact about this, the tomb of Jahangir. Noor Jahan, very interesting topic in this chapter is about the Noor Jahan. Noor Jahan's real name was Mehrunisa. What was her real name? Was Mehrunisa. She was the peerless of beauty, highly intelligent and well cultured. She was the chief queen Jahangir, who had given her the title of Noor Jahan, which means the light of the world. This is the meaning of the word Noor Jahan, light of the world. Then what it is, the another thing what it is said in this context of Noor Jahan, her father Mirza Ghias Bey was a courtier in the court of Akbar, and she was the widow of an Afghan noble Ali Quli Khan, who was killed by the army of Jahangir. She was not the virgin at the time of her marriage with Jahangir. She was the widow. Mehrunisa was the chief queen Jahangir, who had given her the title of Noor-e-Jahan, which means the light of the world. These are all the titles given to her. Due to his beauty, due to his intelligence level, all such things were given and told by the ruler. Jahangir owed many of his successes to his wife Noor Jahan. She was ambitious and took keen interest in the administration of empire. It is said that she was the real administrator behind the curtain. Jahangir asked her advice on all important matters. During the illness of Jahangir, she independently administered the entire empire. She became so powerful that coins were made with her name. The coins were also now been issued with the name of the Noor Jahan and Jahangir, and many a times as her intelligence was been praised, so the coins were also introduced with the name of Noor Jahan. Historians believe that Noor Jahan was the real center of power in the latter part of Jahangir's reign. This is all that the assumption given by the people, by the historians, and she has been given this importance in the Mughal history. Then contacts with Europeans. How India, this Christianity reached India, what were its importance? Now coming to discuss this. Various European travelers came to India during the reign of Jahangir. They wanted to obtain trade concessions. What he was? This is the trade concessions. Various European travelers came to India during the reign of Jahangir, and they wanted to obtain trade concessions. William Hawkins was an ambassador of the King of England, and he came in 1608 to stay in India for 3 years. The time period was fixed. In 1612, the English set up a factory at Surat. Sir Thomas Roe was another ambassador of the King of England, and he came to India in 1615. This was Sir Thomas Roe. Then he succeeded in obtaining trade concessions from India for the traders of England. So this way he was playing a very important role. This is The another ambassador sent by the King of England, Sir Thomas Roe, and he was a he gained his success for the things which he has visited India.